Today, we're diving into a topic that I've been wanting to talk about for a while. It's about healing the dynamics of anxious-avoidant attachment relationships. These are often seen in romantic partnerships, where people with anxious attachment styles are drawn to those with avoidant attachment styles. The challenge arises because both individuals tend to be psychologically one-sided. In these relationships, conflicts frequently emerge, making resolution challenging. Many anxious-avoidant couples find themselves trying to change the relationship dynamic by convincing their partner to address their attachment issues. In this video, we'll explore why this approach doesn't work and why conventional methods for healing these dynamics often fall short. When couples seek help, like going to couples counseling, the usual approach may inadvertently push each person further into their own emotional wounds. For instance, the avoidant partner may be encouraged to hold more space for the anxious partner's emotions, while the anxious partner may be advised to give the avoidant partner more space. While this might reduce immediate triggering, it doesn't deeply heal the relationship dynamic. To truly heal, both parties need to engage in significant shadow work. The psychological shadow consists of suppressed behaviors, impulses, needs, and feelings learned in early life to adapt to the caregiving environment. For avoidant individuals, vulnerability and needs go into the shadow, while for anxious individuals, self-reliance is repressed. In a secure relationship, self-reliance and vulnerability are balanced. However, in anxious-avoidant dynamics, each person overfunctions in their comfort zone. The anxious partner provides excessive proximity-seeking behaviors, while the avoidant partner offers emotional self-containment. Both are psychologically one-sided, reinforcing their respective worldviews. The avoidant worldview is, "I'm okay, you're not okay," while the anxious worldview is, "I'm not okay, you're okay." In these dynamics, both partners unconsciously believe the other is the problem, perpetuating a cycle of blame. The trap lies in thinking the partner needs to change more than oneself, when, in fact, both need to engage in shadow work equally. Trying to change a partner without addressing one's own issues is flawed logic. When a partner changes, the entire system needs compensatory adjustments for equilibrium. Recognizing that your partner's changes may trigger unexpected reactions in you is crucial for effective healing in anxious-avoidant relationships. If one person stops overfunctioning in their usual role, the other will have to step up in an area they may not be familiar with, forcing them to confront their own shadow. For example, if an avoidant person wants their partner to be more independent, they may need to take on more responsibility for proximity-seeking behaviors, like initiating emotional connection. This requires confronting vulnerability, expressing needs, and overcoming discomfort. Similarly, if someone with an anxious attachment style wants their partner to be more emotionally available, it means the partner will not only share emotions but also be genuinely vulnerable. This vulnerability may appear clumsy and undignified, especially for someone with an avoidant attachment style. The challenge is for the anxious person to shift from an "I'm not okay, you're okay" worldview to a more balanced one where both partners take turns being the secure base for each other. In a secure relationship, partners share responsibilities and vulnerabilities comfortably. However, those with an anxious attachment style may struggle when their partner displays vulnerability, triggering feelings of inadequacy tied to their negative self-view. It's crucial to navigate these triggers for effective healing. As someone healing from the avoidant side, expressing needs and vulnerabilities authentically has sometimes been met with contempt from more anxious partners. To address anxious-avoidant dynamics, both partners must be willing to engage in deep healing work. The avoidant partner needs to learn proximity-seeking behaviors and emotional openness, while the anxious partner must become secure enough to handle their partner's needs without panic or disgust. The traditional approach of trying to change the partner and expecting the relationship to heal is flawed for several reasons. Firstly, if a partner undergoes deep healing work, they may realize the irrationality of staying with someone who hasn't done the same. The likelihood of a sustainable relationship decreases if both parties are not actively working to enhance their skills and compensate for previous overfunctioning. Secondly, the partner undergoing healing may become more emotionally aware and rational, potentially leading them to question the viability of a relationship with someone who hasn't done similar work. It requires both parties to be engaged in deep shadow work simultaneously. Lastly, the traditional approach can be psychologically threatening as the external representation of one's shadow disappears. The subconscious might resist this change, trying to force the partner back into a familiar role. This process demands giving up fantasies of perpetual dependence and eternal innocence. It forces individuals to confront their own shortcomings and embrace emotional maturity to handle the pain their partner may express. Instead of focusing on changing the partner, 5 essential questions are suggested to promote genuine deep work in the relationship. 1. How can I confront and integrate my own shadow triggered by my partner's healing? 2. Am I willing to let go of the fantasy of perpetual dependence and confront the need to grow up? 3. Can I face the reality that my partner's positive changes do not diminish my worth or perpetuate negative beliefs about myself? 4. Am I prepared to handle the pain and emotions that may arise as my partner becomes more emotionally aware? 5. Can I stop derogating or thinking down on my partner's positive changes and accept the vulnerability required for a healthy relationship? Addressing these questions enables individuals in an anxious-avoidant dynamic to embark on the deep work necessary for positive shifts in their relationship, provided both parties are willing to engage in the process. Am I prepared for the power dynamic in this relationship to undergo significant shifts? Am I ready for my partner to develop more independence and stop needing me in certain ways? Or am I ready for my partner to start needing me in ways they currently do not? Both scenarios can disrupt the existing power dynamic, and the crucial question is whether I'm willing to relinquish some control to allow my partner the space they need to change, delve into their own shadow, and heal their relationship with themselves. This requires a drastic change for both individuals, acknowledging a mutual sacrifice of major sources of power and control within the relationship. How will I cope with the insecurity that arises when I truly view my partner as my equal? For the avoidant partner, this may involve recognizing that they are intentionally choosing to be in the relationship, dispelling the notion of being better than their partner. This shift demands facing feelings of shame, disgust, and vulnerability repressed from a young age. Similarly, for the anxiously attached party, it involves confronting the fear that there isn't a perpetually strong and capable savior. Both acknowledgments require giving up a degree of safety we feel in the world. How can I actively work to stop triggering my own shadow traits in my partner? Unconsciously, we often elicit traits in others that we find unbearable in ourselves. Avoidant partners may unknowingly trigger more neediness in their anxious counterparts, while anxious partners might trigger self-reliance in their avoidant partners. This process requires learning to step into the parts of ourselves that are in our shadow, embodying traits that are typically held by the partner. This is risky for self-image and the relationship, as the partner might reject these behaviors. Am I willing to proactively embody my shadow traits, knowing it may lead to potential rejection? Whether avoidant or anxiously attached, this involves stepping into behaviors typically held by the partner in the relationship. It's a risky process, as the system may resist the change and try to push individuals back into their regular roles through subtle forms of shaming or rejection. The question is whether one is willing to face potential rejection and deal with the shame that may arise in the process. Am I willing to take a sober look at the compatibility of this relationship after significant healing work? Once both parties have undergone healing, it's essential to evaluate whether they genuinely like each other beyond the shared worldview of who is okay and who is not. Compatibility in terms of enjoying each other's company, having aligned goals, and sharing a similar lifestyle becomes crucial when the main purpose of being together shifts from projecting deep psychological wounds onto each other. In a secure relationship, partners tend to focus on factors such as shared humor, compatibility, and common interests. However, these aspects may only become apparent after significant healing work has been done. Prior to addressing compatibility, attachment issues often serve as the primary source of conflict in a relationship. Interestingly, attachment wounds can lead individuals to seek partners who are not highly compatible. This occurs because there's a perceived lack of risk in true intimacy if both individuals intuitively sense a potential partner won't fully understand them, even in a healed state. Mutual shadow work, or healing in relationships, is compared to sobering up after being in a metaphorical intoxicated state within a relationship for an extended period. It involves waking up and critically evaluating whether the person beside you is someone you genuinely want to continue being with. It acknowledges that the success of a relationship goes beyond its continuity. A relationship that fosters mutual healing and growth, leaving both partners more secure, is considered successful even if they choose not to stay together post-healing. Acknowledging the potential decrease in attraction after healing, as secure versions of selves may not have much in common, is considered normal and acceptable. This awareness is crucial when entering the healing process. The fifth and final question to consider in healing an avoidant-anxious dynamic is whether one is willing to focus at least 5 times more on personal change and growth than on the partner's change. This recognizes the tendency to see the partner's faults more clearly than one's own, emphasizing the importance of self-improvement. However, a cautionary note is added that this approach doesn't apply in emotionally abusive dynamics. In such cases, the focus should be on making oneself more self-sufficient and independent. Additionally, a warning is issued against one-sided growth, where individuals become more rigid or fixated on specific theories without addressing the core issues. The ultimate message is that deep and sustainable healing in relationships or individual attachment wounds requires confronting the original wounding, uncovering blind spots, grieving past pain, and integrating suppressed aspects of oneself. This comprehensive approach is the only way to achieve true healing and balance.